Good afternoon, all of my fellow inmates of this quarantine, and welcome back to my horror. I don't know how you guys are doing, but for me, I am not leaving the house at all. I haven't even left to go pick up groceries. I usually let my wife do that because I think she's been even more cooped up than I have, but being at home this long, it leaves me with a few things to do. One, I've been doing a few more art projects. I've been playing video games a bit more recently than I have been in the past good while. Playing Final Fantasy and Chrono Cross for the PlayStation 1 mostly. And the other thing is watching movies. Now, with my kids, I've been watching a lot of the Studio Ghibli films because Declan's taken a liking to them. Parenting win. But for me, I have been watching a good deal of horror films, especially the one I want to talk to you guys about right now is the Insidious franchise. Now, they're fairly popular. I think they made a decent amount of money, but I know there's a few people who haven't seen them, and so I kind of just wanted to explain why I feel those movies are good, what they bring to the horror table, and just all in all how much I love them. I'm going to take you guys back to a time when I felt like I was invincible with horror films. So I was one of those people who, you know, if someone came up to me and they're like, what's the scariest movie you've ever seen? And I'm like, I don't get scared. I don't get scared of a whole lot of movies. I think the last one I remember being legitimately terrified by, like visually watching the movie as the others with all the those creepy, pale-looking kids that are allergic to the sun, and Nicole Kidman's like seeing ghosts around the house. That one legitimately scared me when I watched it. And there is one other movie, The Exorcism of Emily Rose, that it didn't scare me when I watched it, but whenever I had to wake up at 3 a.m. every morning to go take a pee, that scared me. And so that one had a lingering effect. And so my friend, he's like, Andrew, you want to go see this new movie called Insidious? I hear it's very terrifying. And I'm like, sure, wuss. So I went to go see this. I was working as a caregiver at night at the time that I went to go see this. And so I was about to go into my midnight shift, and we decided to catch a movie before then. We went to go see Insidious, and like one of the things I'll mention in just a second, like these movies build so much dread and make the atmosphere so uncomfortable, for me at least. At least the first few of them do. I remember watching that movie, I was plugging my ears. I was getting terrified. I think I even held Josh's hand, which I'm sure his wife at the time was okay with. But man, I tell you what, guys, it scared the crap out of me. There's one villain, and actually two of these, in two of the Insidious movies, especially the first two, called the Bride in Black. I'll talk about her in just a second. Like, I don't know if I painted this. I'm not sure if I caught her essence perfectly enough, but it's the serial killer who dresses up as a bride in black. And I remember I was doing my midnight shift. The two residents I was taking care of were dead asleep, and I remember thinking they had like this massive sunroom, which is where the caregivers would typically go and rest. Glass walls, basically, like all the way around, like massive windows, and I was just terrified that at some point I was going to see the Bride in Black come walking around the corner and scare the shite out of me. And so I can honestly say, and that's why I feel like Insidious was such a pivotal theater experience for me, because for the first time, really, ever, of seeing a scary movie, I jumped like crazy. And I feel like since then I've been more aware of like things that actually do kind of scare me. So like the Annabelle movies, they scare the crap out of me sometimes because that doll is freaking nuts. And so that's what I wanted to go ahead and talk to you guys about today, is the Insidious franchise. And so I would do each one individually, but I mean, really, I view a franchise like this, especially when a lot of the sequels are more or less good, I kind of see them as a whole. So I'll just kind of give a brief run through of the plots of each one. So Insidious Part 1, the very first one I saw. By the way, I had this poster on my wall, like when my wife and I lived in our first home, and I had to take it down because I was too afraid of this little psycho demon child looking right at me. And like every time I had to walk down the hall, I'm like I dared not make eye contact with him because I was afraid he was going to say something or blink. But Insidious Part 1. So this tells the story of the Lambert family and how you come to find that this kid, Dalton, when he goes to sleep, he has out-of-body experiences, which, isn't just a phrase for him. Like when he goes to sleep, he actually does leave his body, which in turn allows for spirits to want to take possession. Spirits in this other world that you come to become very familiar with in the Insidious franchise, known as the Further. So he leaves his body. They want to get in. Like good demons. I don't think there was any good demons. But bad demons and evil demons. Like just everyone wants to get in and take hold of this kid's life. And so it becomes this huge thing. He's in a coma. This red-faced demon, I think that's what his name is, who tries to take possession of his body. He's the main one. And like I should say, in every Insidious film, there's like this key demon that they're the heroes of our story are trying to defeat. So in Insidious Part 1, it's actually kind of two. It's the Bride in Black and the red-faced demon. And I almost said It Chapter 2. Sorry. Insidious Chapter 2, that one, honestly, it carries directly after the first Insidious movie. And this one's about the Bride in Black. And this time it's not so much the son that's being the victim in this one. It's the father, because the son, like I said, he has out-of-body experiences. Well, apparently so did his dad when he was a kid. And so now he's duking out his demons in this one, which has to do with the Bride in Black. Friggin' psycho. Like, I hate that imagery. And actually, I'll tell you, my son, I let him watch some of these things sometimes because he saw It Chapter 2. Like, I don't know if I'm a good father for doing that, but he saw it and he loved it. He loved the original 1990, loved the original, or the new It movie as well, and these things don't scare him. And so I kind of had gosh dang it, I'm sorry guys. I had Insidious Chapter 2 on in the background while the kids were playing, and apparently he caught a few images, and so he woke up in the middle of the night saying, I had a bad dream. I was thinking about the Bride in Black, and I was like, oh, crap. See, and I would agree, these movies, they're not perfect films by any means, but they are scary, man. Like, I dare say they're scarier than anything you'll see in the It movies, and I like those movies. And so, that's that rant. Sorry, guys. Now, Insidious Chapter 3, now this is a prequel to the first two, and it deals with a girl named, I think her name is Quinn. Her mother apparently had passed away not too long ago, and Quinn seeks out a sidekick named Elise, who's actually more or less like a main character in all the movies. I think of her as a very dignified Ghostbuster. But Quinn seeks out Elise to try to contact her mom, and in doing so with, I can't remember if it was a Ouija board or not, but she acknowledged the other dimension, and instead of contacting her mom, she contacted the demon of this movie, which is the man who can't breathe. Not as scary as the other ones, but it's definitely more of an intriguing story. And the man who doesn't breathe, his whole goal is to basically try to get you to either kill yourself or whatnot. He likes to feed off of the energy of others, and so, good one. Insidious Chapter 3. And actually, funny note on this one, Leigh Whannell, he's the guy who wrote all the Insidious movies, this is his first directorial debut. And so he did this. He also, if you guys were aware, he did Upgrade, which was kind of like a sci-fi horror. And then he did The New Invisible Man, which, holy crap, I think I may have urinated. I don't know, I'll have to ask my wife. So, and then the last one, it's not as good as the other ones, but I still find something to love in each of these, because it has some good moments. Insidious The Last Key is the fourth one, and this one deals with Elise's story, the psychic, going into her past, like how she dealt with the gifts as a child, how she dealt with her father, and so it's actually really, quite good as well. And this is a prequel to, it comes after It comes after Insidious Chapter 3, but before Chapters 1 and 2, so it's still a prequel. Now, a couple things I wanted to go ahead and mention about these. Now, why exactly they scare me so much. The one thing, music is always a good indicator. Like, you know, we have the creepy violins in the movie. That scares the stuff out of me. But whenever I see malicious faces or just creepy faces that just they hold still and they just kind of stare at you, and you're just like, you know, you build up that dread, that whole fight or flight thing starts going in your head, and you're like, crap, what am I gonna do? Like, this freaking Bride in Black, there's so many scenes in Insidious chapters 1 and 2 where she just stands there and stares and just looks at you, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, don't freaking like, don't you come after me. And there's the one scene I remember that really just set me off in the theater, is when Josh, Dalton's dad, in Insidious chapter 1, like I said, Dalton had an out-of-body experience, and Dalton's dad went into the further to try to rescue him, and in doing so, you know, in this further, the other dimension where all the spirits live, when he comes across some of them, you're seeing scenes play out in these spirits' lives of when they were alive on Earth. Only sometimes they're moving, sometimes they're just holding really still, like a statue, right? Like an alive statue. And so he walked into this living room, and you see a father and daughter sitting on the bed. The father's just holding the paper still. He's whistling. I can't whistle. The daughter is just sitting there on the couch smiling. The mom is standing kind of, you know, like she's in the process of ironing some clothes. And you know, and whenever Patrick Wilson, who plays Josh the dad, looks away and he looks back at the family, the scene has changed. You know, like there's the next step in the story. So he leaves the room for a minute, he looks back, he leaves the room and he hears gunshots in the living room. When he goes back, he sees that the mother, the father, and the one daughter that were on the couch have all been shot, and that the other sister is standing in front of him with a shotgun. And there's that scene where he gets close to the sister holding the shotgun, and she just smiles. And like, there still is a statue, but at the same time, you can see like the body is just barely swaying just a little, and you see their eyes kind of blink a little bit, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, man. Again, I think I urinated probably right now, I'll never tell. But it's stuff like that, like the malicious smiling faces. I can't do it, man. If you come at me, you better come at me with a half angry grin, or come at me with a lukewarm face. And then the last couple things that I actually like about this movie is the cast. Like, all the people that they pitched in for this movie are perfect. Like I said, there's the family, the Lambert family from the first couple Insidious movies. Patrick Wilson, I forget what the girl's name is, but the kid who plays Dalton, he's really good. He's actually the kid from Jurassic World. So they're pretty awesome. And those two guys who play the people who accompany Elise, they look like, my wife and I, we said they look like Mormon missionaries, only they're more or less Ghostbusters. Like, that's their job. They accompany Elise, the sidekick, and they investigate these homes and, you know, just see how they can help. And so Leigh Whannell, the guy who wrote the entire franchise, plays the nerdy one, Specs. And then this other random dude that I only remember seeing him in Mad Max, Fury Road is another movie. He plays the other one who's more technologically, like, advanced. And so, but absolutely loved those guys. And actually, when my wife and we took our kids to Horror Hound in Indianapolis, you know, something that we wouldn't be able to do right now, obviously. And when we went there, we actually met Lynn Shay. I think that's the lady who plays Elise. And man, I'm telling you what, she was a doll. Like, I have a picture right here. I don't usually do that. Like, when I go to Horror Festival, I'll get like the original artwork, or I'll get movies that I know I can't get anywhere else, but I'll kind of steer clear of autographs because they cost a lot of money. But I really wanted to get the autograph with her. I'm a married man. But you can kind of see this picture right here. Sweet lady. very sweet lady. If you can't tell, well, Declan got hot, so he was dressed up as Jason. Hazel was Ghostface. Lockie was Chucky, and my wife and I were the Torrances from The Shining. And so I loved it because you can't see it in this picture, but Lynn Shay was very taken by Hazel. Hazel was nervous because she just saw about 8 people dressed up as Pennywise, but she wanted to hold Hazel, wanted to make her feel comfortable. She just thought she was the cutest thing, and I'm like, oh, you think my kid is cute? You're so nice. How about you give me a free autograph? No, you still want the $80? Okay. And so, long ramble about these movies. I'm sorry, guys, but they're really, really good. Go ahead and check them out. They're 4 movies deep. I'm pretty sure you can get like a box set with all 4 of them at Walmart. So make sure you're going to get your essentials like your milk and your eggs, and then sweep by and grab something from the electronics section. And so thanks everyone. Have a good quarantine week. Bye.